24 hours removed from the series finale. Let's get that straight there. The series finale of WandaVision, because
Sir.
I have serious doubts that we get a season 2 of this TV series with such a high production value, performances by, relatively well-known actors and actresses, material that is obviously attached to, some potentially major box office returns. WandaVision season 2 ain't happening.
Nah.
Before I kind of get into my feelings on that, I just want to kind of wrap this up a little bit with the final couple episodes, as well as overall, our feelings on this TV series. If you don't mind, brother, I'm going to let you go ahead and lead this off. Immediately following the way that this series ended, what are your thoughts on WandaVision?
My thoughts on WandaVision, man, it was a very well done series. With the season finale, man, I really thought they delivered on all fronts on that, man. The season finale felt like a damn near a Marvel movie. It did. For the hour length, the special effects, the budget, it gave it a big. It really was the most MCU like episode out of all of them that we've had so far. And I think they delivered on all fronts, man. I really do. I really felt like we got to see, spoiler alert, from this point forth. Go watch episode, come back, listen. I really felt like the creation and the introduction to Scarlet Witch, Wanda as Scarlet Witch, was magnificently done, man. I really felt like they nailed that. And the introduction of so many characters and what's going on henceforth after this series. Yeah, I mean, this was a game changer for Disney Plus. This was a game changer. The numbers don't lie. It's like the number one streaming show right now. Great performances by Elizabeth Olsen, Paul Bettany, yeah, Tiana Paris. I think Catherine Hahn as Agatha, Evan Peters. All those guys killed it, man. This was great acting performances on all fronts. This was a quality premium show that you got in Disney Plus, damn near movie quality, and they knocked it out the park, just like Kevin Feige, the regular from Kevin Feige and the MCU, man. They nail shit, and they give you solid movies and now solid TV shows based on their comics, off Marvel Comics. With the conclusion, my thoughts on the conclusion overall, man, was that no, there was no breaking of the multiverse in this. There was no breaking the multiverse, and I think some people were a little bit disappointed with that. Some people were looking for kind of like the Snap 2.0 moment,
Uh-huh.
but the show didn't need to. It didn't need it. It had the strength of mystery and the intrigue and what's going on. I think for those kind of moments, you still have to remember that you need something to pull the audience to the movies as well. So while I think major shit can happen on Disney Plus series, the good stuff I think they will save for the major theatrical release, the major movies. They're gonna give you some good shit with Disney Plus series, but they're definitely gonna save the more bigger impact things left for the movies. But I gotta say, man, like for Falcon and Winter Soldier and these next couple series, the bar has been set high, and you can thank the director and these actors and the
Mm-hmm.
screenwriters to putting together a really high quality show. And now your expectations for MCU shows are very high, man. So
Yep.
WandaVision, they killed it, man. They definitely killed it.
Man. And like I couldn't have said it any better than that. It's just amazing to me how if we go all the way back to Iron Man, the thing, the most consistent theme in this entire endeavor is that at every turn, they have been able to exceed your expectations going into it.
Yep.
nobody had high expectations for a TV series featuring two, I'm going to say, mid-level bench players in relation to the Avengers. No one had any level of expectations for a TV series revolving around characters who were introduced in the second Avengers movie that kind of had not even a secondary storyline in the overall plot structure of the Infinity Saga. They were there, but the things that they were doing were in the background, right?
Right.
In the grand scheme of things, yes, Vision was an interesting character. His introduction from being Jarvis, the virtual assistant, how can I be of assistance and all of that, all the way to being a fleshed out character who ended up dying live action. From Wanda Maximoff being a character introduced in, arguably the least favorite Avengers movie to carrying the first Disney Plus live action MCU TV series, like that means something. You know, there's a
Yeah.
level of detail and a level of faith and a level of consistency that has to be appreciated there because nobody gave a fuck about WandaVision. Like, if
Nah.
we rewind time to early 2021 after episode 1 and 2 in comparison to today, it's almost night and day in terms of what people are actually saying about it, right?
Yeah, totally, man. Totally. People were, I don't understand this. I don't get this. It's so slow. What is this? This is stupid.
hmm
I don't get like it's totally night and day from just
Right.
confusion and negativity to just praise and worship.
Uh-huh. And that goes back, the entire theme of what they've been doing over there is to subvert and exceed your expectations to the point where we get a Guardians of the Galaxy movie that people like. We get a Doctor Strange movie that people like. We get a Captain Marvel movie that, was relatively successful at the box office because they know what they're doing. I think we kind of spoke on this before. When you break it down to the simplest level of human emotion, you break it down to something that people can relate to. At the end of the day, to me, I feel like WandaVision overall as a show is telling the story of someone who is dealing with grief. Even though it got a little bit more obvious what was
Hmm.
going on later on towards the end of the show, how does a person deal with being alone? How does a person deal with having something or someone in their life that's meaningful and having that taken away from them without being able to do anything about it? On a human level, on a personal level, that's something that we all feel like we can relate to, either directly or indirectly. It just so
Hmm.
happens that in the context of this TV show, we're dealing with someone who has the ability to cope with that, but her coping mechanism of dealing with losing people that were near and dear to her are doing other people harm. And we see this person end up coming to a crossroads where she has to deal with the realization that the things that she's doing are actually harming people, right?
Right. Right.
And in the background of all of that, right? And this is where the kicker is at here. In the background of all of that, we get an introduction to another character. We get an introduction to another character that has connections to another powerful character and more things that may manifest in the background of the overall universe. I can appreciate that because there's something to come back to go see in the movie theaters. Monica Rambeau is a character I never heard of prior to me and you starting this podcast. I still haven't seen Captain Marvel to this day, but based off of the performance by Tiana Paris and the introduction of that character, I know that I need to see Captain Marvel. And at some point, I know that I am going to need to see Captain Marvel too if I want to see
Yep,
Monica Rambeau. You know,
exactly.
the seeds were planted for the Secret Invasion in the post-credit scene for Spider-Man Far From Home. Just the fact that they plant more of those seeds in addition to what was going on this TV series that ended up being better than we thought it would be speaks to what it was they were doing for the entire time. I don't know shit about the Secret Invasion. The only thing I know about the Kree and the Skrull is that they don't like each other, and at some point in time, they wanted to kill Jean Grey. But that's a different conversation, right?
Right, right.
Um, without jumping around too much, specifically the introduction or the transition from Wanda Maximoff into being the Scarlet Witch, do you feel like that is the origin story for a potentially powerful anti-hero slash supervillain?
Yeah, I definitely think so. We know from the history of Wanda in the comics, she goes that anti-hero to almost straight full-on villain role.
Mm-hmm.
She swings back time and time again from hero, anti-hero to straight villain. This series, man, the character development of Wanda Maximoff in the MCU is one of the most well done character progressions I think in MCU, man. I'm putting it up there. I am putting it up there. From Age of
Oh
Ultron to this point
shit!
right now, when you think about what WandaVision did, how much time they got to develop her, how much time they
Yes.
got to put into her backstory. She almost got she came in the second Avengers movie, but now is almost equal to Iron Man, Tony Stark, and Thor in terms of screen time of development, just from a TV series. A TV
Mm.
series is that powerful. It can do that. It can
Mm-hmm.
expand. It can grow characters. It can show you where they come from. It can give you a better appreciation. I'll be honest with you, man. I'm not a big fan of Vision. I didn't really give a fuck about Vision, dude. And even
Right.
in Infinity War and Endgame, I was like, damn, it felt bad that Thanos did it to him. But I was like, the whole time, like, Vision, why you being a bitch, man? You were such a beast before, and now you're getting your ass whooped the whole movie. Like, this series gave me a lot of more respect for Vision. I actually like
Man.
Vision now. I appreciate Vision, man. Like, I like Paul Bettany's Vision. Like, I never had him in any my top 10 of anything. Now, I might put Vision up there, dude, because
Right.
the goodwill and the good work they did with WandaVision was in fucking incredible, man. And I'm gonna break it down real quick, dude. Like, even
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
if
Go
you
ahead.
if you look at the character of Wanda Maximoff, and I know some people with the Scarlet Witch transition, they felt like, oh, she needs to go to jail. She needs to go through her consequences and suffer her consequences for her actions. If we really look at Wanda Maximoff, think about all the shit she has been through throughout her whole life, right? Her childhood. She grows up in a third world country, war torn, lost her parents. You know what I'm saying? Lost her parents as a child. Goes into teenhood. Volunteers to be a science experiment for Hydra, essentially. And gets powers, but still is controlled by Hydra, still is influenced. So in her childhood, she's controlled by other people's will. You know what I'm saying? In her teenhood, she's controlled by other people's will with Hydra. She's influenced by Ultron. She loses her brother. She joins the Avengers. People who the only people in the world who can even remotely relate to her because no one else has abilities like her. So she joins the Avengers, loses her brother. Shit's looking good. She's in the government, government facility. She's well clothed, well fed, and she's trying to do some good in the world. And even that shit goes wrong because of fucking Civil War. And now you have a government, international governments imposing their will on her again to do what they want. And then so you had a good life after you made it, and now you're back on the run again. And then Thanos shows up. This purple dude with this Infinity Gauntlet says, "I want half of y'all motherfuckers gone, and I don't care what the fuck I got to do it. It's gonna get done. If I got to go through your boyfriend, your cyborg boyfriend, and get this stone off his head, I'm gonna do it, and I don't care what it takes to do it." So throughout her whole life, she's had people imposing their will on her. So when we get to the point in WandaVision where she's lost pretty much damn near everything, and she's in a position to attain true happiness, and she's lived a shitty life. Let's face it, she has not lived a happy life. Of course, she now has the power to do so. You can see her snapping a little bit and imposing her will onto others because of that's how she functioned in life. That's how her life was has been affected by others, whether it be government agencies, whether it be war, whether it be Thanos. There's always been people imposing their will on Wanda. And this was like the one time for her to kind of snap and impose her will on others so she can attain a happy life that she's always been out of reach. She cannot attain a happy, fulfilling life. And she finally got it with her own little reality. And of course, she would snap in that and get self indulged a little bit too much in that and impose her will on the civilians of Westville and have
Hmm.
them suffer for her happiness because, hey, fuck it. If I had to live through that, you can live through it too. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
at least you're still breathing. You know what I mean? Fuck you guys. Like, yeah, anyone would snap. Anyone would snap. I'm not gonna. Yes, it's villainous, but I'm not gonna totally call her out right now as a super villain because she attained some happiness out of her shitty life, and she forced it on others to attain that happiness. So that's just that character progression, man. Like you couldn't do it in a movie. You could not do it in a movie. It
No,
took a
I
streaming
agree.
service to expand her on that character progression and just her relationship with Vision, man. It was so, you know,
Man.
it was very well done, and you got a little bit of it in the movies, but didn't really feel genuine. You know what I'm saying? Like it felt kind of
Right.
out of left field and it didn't really stick too hard. It stuck when Vision died. I think Elizabeth Olsen did a good job of portraying that loss right then and there, her anger.
Hmm.
But this series really made those other moments in the movies mean more. You know what I'm saying? It
Oh man.
really,
Yeah.
you got to see that chemistry kind of develop naturally. You got to see the interactions. You felt the care and love they had for each other in this series, where you couldn't have the time in Infinity War. You didn't have the time in Civil War to really truly expand upon that because they were the B team, like you said. They were the C and D listers of the roster. Let's be real. They were. I mean, it was Wanda is powerful, Vision's powerful. Who cares? We want to see Iron Man. We want to see Cap. We want to see Thor. We want to see, saying the heavy hitters.
Hmm.
So this
Right.
series really expanded upon that wonderfully, man. It really did.
Right. And honestly, bro, like the way that you worded that was perfect because at this moment in time, the way that it ends, the way that we leave off with these characters is in a way to where you can't wait to see what happens next. I can't wait. and I mean, look, I could be wrong. I'm not trying to predict the future or nothing like that, but I cannot wait to see the Scarlet Witch square up against Doctor Strange. I can't wait. I can't wait. You know what I'm saying? I am
Dude,
looking.
that shit is gonna be off the fucking chain, man. If you thought Doctor Strange versus Thanos was dope, if you thought that what Doctor Strange did with against Thanos on Titan was amazing, just imagine when you have Doctor Strange versus Scarlet Witch and a visual throwdown, a
I
magical throwdown.
right. I am looking forward to that. I'm genuinely looking forward to that because at the end of the day, okay, the last time that we see Wanda, right? She's not aware that there's another Vision that is finding and searching for the memories that he had of what came before. That's a very important thing right there that has to be
Right.
noted. She does not know. I mean, I'm sure that if she wanted to, she could kind of scour and search of, and all of that. But in her mind, it'll never be what it was before. So we have this proto Vision kind of retrieving his memories of what was there before. But we also have Wanda kind of studying and enhancing her own abilities, but she's still doing this alone. So the Scarlet Witch and Wanda are almost two different people. In her head,
Mm,
in her own mind, she's still living in Westview. She still has her twin sons. She still has her brother. She still has Vision. In
right.
her mind, this is something that's still there. But what's gonna happen when somebody decides they don't want to leave her alone? Which they better do. They
Mm-hmm.
better leave her alone, right?
Right.
And just seeing her floating up in the air with the legs crossed, with the characters or the runes around her, that makes me think about Doctor Strange. It
Yeah.
makes me anticipate what an interaction or a potential conflict between the two of them is going to look like. But that might be down the road. That ain't got nothing to do with what we're talking about right now, right? I do want to address Vision. Specifically, I want to address Vision. Vision was the most sympathetic figure on this entire TV series
Oh, no
because,
doubt.
and I mentioned this before we kind of got into it. How do you tell a how do you tell a machine that he was once a man? How do you tell a machine that he was once a man who died? Like how does he come to the realization that all of these things happened to him, but he doesn't remember it? But this woman that he loves more than anything is allowing them to be together. You see what I'm saying? Like throughout the
Mm-hmm.
entire series, I had a feeling of dread towards that character. Like even when I was laughing at certain parts of the show, it was still kind of like, damn, like I'm not comfortable with this. You know what I'm saying? And it hurt when you realized that he realized what happened to him.
Mm-hmm.
He had to come to the realization that everything he wanted in life, not only could it never happen, but he wasn't even given the opportunity to make it happen. You know,
Damn. Yeah.
like that's some,
Shit.
and I mean, look, I don't want to. I don't want to come off like I'm shilling for the TV show, but I mean that's some deep shit. Like that's something that you got to read between the lines to kind of try to understand. At the end of the day, everybody ends up being alone. Everybody had to give something up, but what did he have to give up? He gave up everything. He literally died twice in order for this villain to end up being defeated, right? Vision
Right.
didn't know what happened in Endgame. You know what I'm saying? He was already gone by that point. He died violently. You know what I'm saying? You could argue he had the worst death out of all the Avengers.
Dying twice in less
You
than
know what
10
I'm saying?
minutes. Yeah.
So, moreover than that, not even, and I don't want to skip over the villain of Agatha Harkness because I did enjoy her run. I enjoyed her most kind of as that devil on the shoulder of Wanda, kind of letting her know, like, no, this is you, this is who you are. But
Right.
I like the idea that at the end of all of this, Wanda has a better understanding of who she is and what she's capable of. She didn't necessarily regret what it was that she did. I feel like she regretted what she did to other people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. 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 That awkward walking away from those
Hmm.
crowded people.
If
in
she
the
could have,
end.
right, if she could have done it all over again, I get the feeling that she would. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that part of the character is what I want to continue to see. The inner conflict of trying to decide what the right thing is to do and what feels right is really what I enjoyed the most about this show. Over all of the other kind of dark subject matter, over the cheesy callbacks to other types of sitcoms, the inner conflict between having the power to do whatever you want to do and how having that power affects people who are powerless is something that I enjoy watching. And at some point in time, I do feel like I will go back and watch this show again. You know, it goes from her saying she has everything under control to losing control and then
Mm-hmm.
realizing that having everything under control doesn't necessarily mean you're doing the right thing. Like, I like that. I like that. That's pushing the medium in a way that I think it needs to be pushed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And and you know, not to get long winded on this, but the only thing that I hope is that we can continue to see this type of content because I love being able to watch and consume entertainment in a way that makes me think about these kind of things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. Yeah, you're absolutely right, man. For Wanda, she had to make kind of the classic superhero sacrifice. You know what I'm saying? She had to sacrifice this make believe life that she had with her husband and her kids, this family life, this true happiness that she never got in real life. And she had to give it up so that people can live their own lives and go to their homes and their family. And even though it was self created, even though, well, it wasn't attainable without her forcing her will on others, it still was a sacrifice on her part because she could have tried to keep these people, you know what I'm saying, zombified. She could have tried to keep them under control. She could have tried to keep the facade going for a little bit longer or for how long until the Avengers would have showed up, you know? So she had to make that sacrifice to balance out the scales of what is right. Like you said, this feels right, but it's actually wrong. And it's funny how people shitted on Wonder Woman 84 for kind of the almost exact same message, but kind of the exact same message. You can't cheat and get what you want. But
Uh-huh.
WandaVision had 9 episodes to accomplish that, while Wonder Woman had a 2 hour plus movie to get that finished. But I digress,
That's a
man.
haymaker. That's a haymaker. hey, hey,
Oh
I ain't
man.
mad. No, you know what? I never even would have thought about that. That's a haymaker right there, but you're absolutely right.
Yeah, man.
Yep.
And you don't. The one thing else I gotta say, in terms of it, of like Wanda and Vision, was that Wanda finally got closure. Wanda got closure with Vision in a sense that she saw her loved one die violently twice. She killed him the first time, then Thanos killed him the second time. So if you look at Endgame, if you look at what happened in that film, Tony got to have his closure with his father when he traveled back in time and got to see his father in a new light as a new man and found out that his father had his ways, but it was for a reason. It was out of love, it was out of tough love. And so he got that resolution before he died. If you look at Cap said, "Fuck it, I'm going back in time and live out, living my best life with Peggy, man. Fuck this shit." And Cap got his closure with Peggy. If you look at Thor's mom died in Thor: The Dark World. He was able to go back in time and have closure with his mom before he went back to the present time. And even with Loki, he was able to create a bond with Loki in Thor Ragnarok to where it hurt when Loki died in the beginning of Infinity War, but at least he wasn't a stranger anymore. At least he was a brother, a beloved brother, and now no longer the oddball in the family.
Mm-hmm.
Even King T'Challa, you know what I'm saying? He went to an
Mm-hmm.
ancestral plane and got closure with his father there. So Wanda finally got that, and it was worth the wait. And I think that she needed that. She needed to get closure. You know what I'm saying? Especially in death. It's very important in the grieving process to get closure with your lost loved one. And when you see, damn dog, like even service dogs get funerals, man. Like
Man.
Vision got torn apart, man, for parts. Bro, like they didn't give a fuck what this dude did. The like you know what I'm saying, like the service and what he did, like they didn't even treat him like he was a person, man. Like that shit was like we just gonna repackage you for something else.
Man. Yeah.
Like
Yep.
that shit was like, damn, you really gonna do this man like that? Like he put his life on the line for all of us, like he was more than just a cyborg, he was almost a person. So like it's like damn, they retire ships, they bury ships in sea, man. They blow it up and have it go to rest. Like they literally was like, nah, this shit's made of vibranium. We need this shit. That was horrible, man. And I think that was the moment where that put her on the edge and created this reality out of grief and out of just loss after loss after loss. No one else had losses like that except maybe Thor. Thor lost his brother, his parents, his kingdom, but Wanda lost her parents, her brother, and her loved one. Like, so it just all culminated, man, into this whole TV series. This whole TV series, like you said, really makes you think about life and a little bit about death and the grieving process of losing someone you love, and what would you do to bring them back? What would you
Mm-hmm.
sacrifice to bring a loved one back? Would
Who
you
would you
feel comfortable?
sacrifice?
Right. Who would you sacrifice to bring someone back? How would you feel about ignoring other people's pain in order to attain what you want? Would you cheat to get what you want? You know what I'm saying? Like it really, man, it was really such a, I almost say it was a think piece, but it did dig underneath the layers more than your typical Marvel movie. And I think that was just exceptionally well done by the screenwriters, the directors, and everyone who came together, the producers who put this TV series together just to make this premium quality content, man. I mean, I don't think there's nothing more else to say about this shit, man. This shit was firing in all cylinders, dude. It really was.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, yeah, man. If this is what if this is the kind of bridge in between the MCU on screen in movie theaters and what they're gonna do on this streaming service, I'm here for it. And I can't wait until Cap and Winter Soldier. I can't wait, bro. Until Falcon and Winter Soldier. Enjoy it while it lasts. Definitely appreciate what you were looking at, because we're not gonna get something like that again.
Nah, nah. Don't redip. And if this was DC, they would redip into this pool again. But it's Marvel. They're smarter than that. There's no WandaVision season 2.
Not at all.
Nah.